I never thought I'd be dragged into a custody battle, especially not with my own sister. But life has a twisted way of forcing you into roles you never auditioned for. The woman who once braided my hair and whispered secrets under our shared blanket would later try to ruin me. It started with a knock on my office door. A summons from the director, urgent, tight-lipped. I walked into the boardroom and saw a thick manila envelope resting in the center of the table. My heart dropped before anyone spoke. 3 of my supervisors sat with grim faces, papers spread before them. We received a complaint. One of them began carefully, regarding your mental health. I knew immediately. It was her. She'd always dabbled in chaos, but calling my workplace and fabricating mental instability, that was a new low, even for her. She was determined to tear me down. But I didn't panic. I calmly opened my briefcase and laid out 5 years' worth of documentation. Letters from my doctor, psychiatrist, and therapist, evidence of responsible treatment and stability. Pharmacy records, even calendar logs. I could see the shift in their expressions as they sifted through the material. When they finished, the mood softened. One even smiled, embarrassed by the ordeal. We had to investigate, he explained. But there's clearly no issue. In fact, your performance this quarter was outstanding. I left the office with my head held high and a bubbling urge to call her. So I did. She answered, venom already in her voice. You think you're clever? Pretending? I laughed. You failed. Again. Maybe sabotage isn't your strong suit after all. That sent her into a tirade. You'll regret this, she snarled. I'm coming back. At first, I was amused. I thought it was another tantrum. But as the hours passed, unease took root. I walked into the guest room, watching my nephews, 10 and 7, curled up together on the bed, breathing evenly, unaware of the storm coming. They had been staying with me for almost a month. She had flown off to Paris with a man I suspected was paying for more than dinner. She left the boys with a duffel bag of clothes and a note. Take care of them. I'll call. The calls were infrequent. The boys asked when she was coming back. I dodged the question. I'd started cooking for them, helping with homework, even attending parent-teacher conferences. I was becoming their mother in everything but title. The thought of losing them made me physically sick. That night, I sat in the hallway outside their room and wept into my knees. The next morning at 8 a.m., a knock shattered the quiet. I opened the door and was immediately thrown backward. A mountain of a man over 6 feet 5 inches, maybe 300 pounds, stood with my sister and our mother. Before I could react, he shoved me against the wall. Pain exploded in my skull. I screamed as they charged into my home. My sister barked at the man to grab the boys. I tried to block the hallway, but he threw me aside like I weighed nothing. I heard the boys cry out. The man ripped them from their beds, ignoring their pleas. My sister walked up to me as I lay on the floor, dazed and breathless. She spat in my face. Then they were gone. I curled into a ball. My limbs trembled. I couldn't breathe. The betrayal from my own blood seared worse than the bruises. But I forced myself up. I called the police. I described everything, the man, the SUV, the license plate, even the scratches on my sister's handbag. I told them the boys weren't safe. Hours later, the police found them. A dramatic highway stop ended with the man attacking an officer. My sister was arrested screaming. My mother, passive as ever, watched in silence. That night, I turned off my phone. She used her one call to reach me. I didn't answer. Let her rot. Days bled into each other. CPS took the boys into protective custody. I couldn't reach them, see them, or even send letters. I barely ate. I considered canceling my trip to Australia with my boyfriend, Jason. But he insisted. You need to breathe, he said. Let me take care of you for once. I agreed. When I landed in Sydney, he picked me up at the airport with open arms and tearful eyes. We drove to his family's beach house, and for the first time in weeks, I heard laughter. His mother hugged me like her own. We watched sunsets, walked barefoot in the rain, and found solace in quiet waterfalls deep in the rainforest. I spent late nights speaking with Jason's father, a retired family court judge who gave me wisdom and clarity. His advice guided much of my preparation for what lay ahead. Jason's little sister, Ella, gave the boys gifts they could open once they returned home, a promise of better days. But when I returned, the storm resumed. I pressed charges: home invasion, battery, child endangerment. CPS still hadn't finalized their report, which was maddening. I documented everything: photographs of bruises, hospital reports, a statement from my therapist, witness testimonies. Then, finally, a breakthrough. PS ruled to strip custody from my sister. The boys were officially wards of the state, unless a suitable guardian stepped up. I stepped up. I hired a lawyer. A good one. We compiled a mountain of evidence, built a case so airtight it could suffocate lies. Courtroom days became my norm. I wore navy suits and kept tissues in my purse. My sister's defense was laughable, unhinged, contradictory. Her lawyer was overworked and underprepared. At one hearing, the judge mentioned my petition. My sister exploded. She lunged across the room, her hands clawing for my throat. A bailiff yanked her back, but not before she bit into my forearm. Blood soaked through my blouse. She was dragged out screaming obscenities. The bite got infected. I still have the scar, but it worked in my favor. The judge issued a restraining order and moved up the criminal trial. Over the next year, charges piled up: assault, endangerment, contempt. She was eventually sentenced to life in prison. My mother testified against her, crocodile tears running down her cheeks. She blamed my sister for everything. I didn't look at her. That was the last time I saw her. But the battle wasn't over. My sister's ex, deadbeat turned concerned father, petitioned for custody. His mother, too. They wanted the boys. I fought harder. Psych evaluations, home inspections, financial audits. I opened every door, laid bare every part of my life. The boys were placed in temporary foster care. I visited every weekend. I brought books, cookies, and matching socks. We built Lego towers and made up bedtime stories about knights, dragons, and a brave aunt who never stopped fighting. One night, the eldest, just 10, asked me, "Will we ever come home again?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. Yes, I promise. More hearings, more delays. 2 years of relentless emotional drain. And then, the final hearing. The judge read over the files in silence. My lawyer squeezed my hand. The boys sat in the back, hands clasped together. When the judge looked up, his voice was clear. Custody is granted to their maternal aunt, the petitioner. The boys burst into tears. So did I. They came home. I had their rooms ready. Bunk beds with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Toy chests. Bookshelves filled with their favorite series. A hand-painted mural of a tree with their names etched into the trunk. The youngest ran straight to his plush dog, the one he hadn't seen since they were taken. He hugged it, then hugged me. His brother joined, whispering, "I knew it, Auntie. I knew you'd come back. And I always will." Thank you for watching this story on Kindle Stories. This story was long, painful, and incredibly emotional, but it's also about perseverance, love, and redemption. If this journey moved you, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Your support truly means the world to us. Until next time.